right, it is our species' highest joy and passion to be able to interact with you in this way through this channel this day. How are you?
Hello, Ryo. Very good. Thank you for being here again.
Of course, it is our passion and our pleasure to be able to interact with you in this manner and to be able to explore with you in this new way, allowing for the channel and ourselves to work together as a team to be able to deliver to you even more specific information, even more detailed, cutting-edge information than usual. For understand, when we are fully channeled by the channel, it is as if a supermind is brought through the channel's body. But when the channel is partially present and he brings this supermind through, it is an even greater expression of our consciousness. It is an even higher state than if it were purely the channel or if it were purely us. When we are together like this, it is actually vibrationally greater. So we enjoy being able to present our shared energies in this way for you now. And now, without further ado, we shall make this appointment about you and about your destiny, about your life, your karma, whatever you wish to call it, your dharma, your path. We are going to be adding each of the numbers up, the 6 plus the 3 plus the 1 plus the 9 plus the 9 plus the 0. Yes, for 1990?
Yes,
Excellent.
I believe
Giving
it's
us a
1.
value of 28. We have omitted one of the zeros intentionally here, but nevertheless, the value does not change. It still produces 28 if you add everything up as a single digit number value. So when we combine the 2 and the 8 together, we receive a 10, yes, a 0 and a 1. This is going to be important. This right here will tell us a great deal about you. However, the 28 will also tell us a great deal about you. Now, before we go any further, we are going to produce what you would describe as a screen share depicting the Kabbalistic tree of life with the tarot cards overlaid upon it. We have received a few numbers. The first number we are going to start with is 28. So this brings us down here to the 28th path, which links the spheres of Yesod and Netsach. The 28th path is traveled as if Yesod is the starting point and Netsach is the destination. Now, as we zoom in a little bit, we can see that we have the tarot card for the star here, representing a few things. This tarot card represents the idea of spiritual ascent. It represents going in to your subconscious, going into your inner space, going into your astral realms, and finding a higher purpose, your purpose, finding a higher mission, your mission. Whom or what is it that bestows upon the human the purpose or mission? Well, many of you would say it's the higher self. What is the higher self? Your personal star. As a chakra, where is your personal star? Right above your head. Yes? That is the higher self chakra. It is that personal star that connects to your sun, and it is your sun that connects up to Sirius. Sirius connects from here to Regulus. Regulus connects up to Arcturus. Arcturus connects up to your pole star. Yes? This is the lineage of stars. Up, 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 up to whatever your current pole star is. Yes, yes, yes. So when you are going into that internal meditative state, when you are doing your astral practices, where you are meeting guides, where you are performing healings, where you are dissolving the self into the primordial oneness, whenever you're doing these things, you're putting yourself in a position where the higher self can begin to speak to you. And the higher self, again, is like a light source of information or a voice from above descending down. Yes, entering into you from the crown down into the heart. Now, even though this higher self is a part of the masculine world, yes, the cosmos, which is normally seen as the realm of yang, it is inherently a feminine spirit. That's what allows for it to exist in the yang world. Within the yang world, there are what? Yin spirits. Within the yin world, under your earth, what are there? Yang spirits. Yes, that's why you put hell in the underworld. Yes?
Mm.
Yes, as you can see, there's a natural yin-yang balance here. And that is reflected here when we look at Netsach. Yes, this is the divine feminine. This is the Shekinah. In Delima, this would be Nuit. Yes, that is what this represents. So what it is saying here is the Holy Spirit, the divine feminine intelligence of the stellar world, is like your muse. As you dream, as you create, as you give into your desire to birth what you are into the physical world, as you do these things, you are allowing yourself to be pulled into the realm of the goddess, into the realm of the feminine. This is your life's work, you could say, yes? Now, once you are here, once you have transversed this path from Yesod, which is sexual power, intuition, psychic power, and divination, once you have made that transition from Yesod to Netsach, you will be in a position where you will have many paths available to you. For example, you could ascend up and go towards Chesed, the Wheel of Fortune, yes? Or you could go up towards Tifereth, taking the path of death, yes? Think of these as your themes after this lifetime, or themes you will unlock in this lifetime if you accomplish this whilst alive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, these would represent future lifetimes. So there is the idea of the path of death. This would be a lifetime where perhaps there would be loss, or there would be things you're asked to let go of. Yes, that perhaps you did not release in this lifetime. And that would translate as not an incredibly difficult lifetime, but a lifetime where attachments would be the major theme. These might be emotional or mental or material. And life will then say, well, it's time to maybe let this go. And if you do, remember, you'll go higher because it's like a hot air balloon. Yes? You have too many attachments, it holds you down. So there could be a lifetime like this where attachments are challenged, but ultimately it will lead you towards success and ascension. It will bring you into the center of the tree of life. It will bring you into, you might call it, a dimension of Christ consciousness. And then from there, the universe really opens up to you in a powerful, powerful way. The other option would be transversing this path up here. We will zoom out for a moment, the 21st path, which would bring you up to Chesed. Now, this is a very positive sphere to ascend to. And of course, it is vibrationally higher than Tiferet. Yes, it's higher up on the tree.
Yeah.
So this would also be a positive path to ascend to. However, the path here is the Wheel of Fortune. Yes? So with this path, you could make it across with enough focus, with enough will, with enough meditative dedication. Yes? However, this particular path is like a vortex, and it can sort of spiral you into a myriad of different directions. So there is, let's just say, a bit more challenge in this path. So it is likely, if your soul is feeling extra confident, it may go for this one. But if it's feeling a little bit more, you could say, calculated, a little bit more reserved, a little bit more conservative in its approach, it may take the 24th path. But again, these are things that you can unlock for yourself as you integrate. Again, the power of Netsach, the power of the Shekinah, the power of the feminine presence within all of nature. As you integrate this, you then unlock these potentials while you are alive. And you're already exploring these potentials now, because as you transverse path 28 and you are pulled upwards by Netsach, keep in mind, Netsach is pulling information from Tiferet and Chesed down into herself, yes? And that energy is also informing your current direction. Does all this make sense so far?
Yeah, it does. Just one quick question. If I'm on this kind of right side of the tree right now, exploring these things, what about the things on the left side, like Had and Gebuda? Is those things that are not necessarily prominent, or those are things to
These are
explore
themes
later?
that were explored more so in other lifetimes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes. So you'll never explore the tree in a way that's fundamentally imbalanced. You will explore this structure in billions of different ways, ways that don't even have accurate or detailed depictions or diagrams. There's all types of ways your consciousness can interact with the tree of life. So it may look at first superficially as if your journey is perhaps a little unbalanced. It's mainly on the right side, but you have to keep in mind that's just relevant to this lifetime. For example, your past lives, which we can calculate, would position you elsewhere on the tree. We can do readings for your past life as well. However, that requires a bit more, you could say, resource and time. Or there are certain calculations mathematically that must be done for such things, but that type of reading could be performed. But let's shift gears a little bit, because we have talked about what the theme is. Yes, the theme of this lifetime really is the theme of the 28th path, right? However, when we add the 2 and the 8 together, just as we had mentioned before, we get a 10, yes? And that's going to bring us to Malchut. So let's look at the 3 paths that emanate from Malchut, because these 3 paths for you are also going to be 3 major dimensions of your worldly experience here. Yes, because Malchut is the earth and the world. So this is talking about your life on earth. And this is talking about how your life could be divided into 3 categories: severity, mercy, neutrality. Yes? So let's take a look. So from the Malchutic level, we have the 32nd path, which is, of course, the path that leads us from Malchut to Yesod. The tarot card here is the world. This path is all about expanding into humanity, giving yourself to the world, not hiding away, knowing that no one can touch your core. It's like you are the nude dancer. And in a certain way, you're desirable, perhaps even erotic to those whom see you. Yet you are so full of grace. By virtue of your gracefulness, you are protected. The world cannot harm you. The world cannot touch you. Why? Because you have become the world. When you have become the world, there is no resistance to the world, and the world cannot touch you. This is what allows for you to do what? It allows for you to activate your psychic powers. And why is that important? Because that's what's needed for you to fulfill the will of the Shekinah, which is the will of your own higher self. So it is this giving of yourself to the world, boldly dancing nude in front of the world, that fully awakens your potential. You understand?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
All right, all right. Now, let us go into, again, the path of severity, the path of mercy. Let's look at these 2 things. So we can also see here Malchut and Netsach connected through the 29th path, the back of the head. This is what the Hebrew letter translates as in terms of its linguistic definition. Each word is said to have, or rather each Hebrew letter is said to have a corresponding definition. Each letter is in its own right, its own type of word, yes? So there is a particular definition. This one relates to the back of the head, usually connected to the idea of kof. And this would be the moon. So in terms of your body, this is the mouth of God points, yes? Just under the occiput, and then the 2 points lateral to the occiput, slightly below, making a triangle. This is also called the jade pillow in Taoism. Lunar power can be pulled into the back of the head, energizing the brain and spine, energizing the subconscious. Your consciousness can actually be projected as a chi ball out of the back of your head. And when you do that, you send your mind into the past. If you sent the chi ball out the front of your head, it would be the future. Yes. So this is how you can time travel through visualized astral projection. The moon is all about adaptation to change. Yes, its nature is that of water and air. Air is that of letting go. Water is that of adaptation and flowing around obstacles and challenges. So these are the types of skill sets you must embody. And what is this also saying here? It is saying that as you develop your psychic skills, you will be able to adapt to the changes and challenges of the world with greater ease. However, what will that cost you? Yes, because with every gift that you receive, there is a cost. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, always. It is always transactional. Always. Otherwise, it would be imbalanced. Yes?
Yeah.
So with the universe, even when the universe seems to give you something, it is asking usually for you to let something go or to focus on something that it desires for you to generate. And that is where we look at this card here, the card of judgment, linking Malchut to Hod, the 31st path. Tooth, representing both nourishment and destruction. That is the power of judgment. Yes, the power of discernment, to be able to look into the world and say, this is good for me and this is bad for me. Yes, or the ability to say, this is good for me in this context, but bad for me in this context. Or the ability to say the opposite. Yes?
Yeah.
So that is the power of judgment. That is the power of discernment. It is the power of the world that allows for you to develop discernment and judgment. If you hide away, it will be as if your discernment and judgment are stunted, and it can create issues in trust and in trusting yourself. In order to trust yourself in your path, you must thrust yourself into situations that scare you a little bit. Not too much, but just enough where you have to think on your feet. That's where your genius comes out. That will be the thing that really pushes you out of the comfort zone. And it will be like the angel sounding its trumpet. Yes, that angel sounding its trumpet, it is, in many ways, Gabriel, the messenger, yes, of God.
Mm.
There are many takes on which exact angel this is. We would describe it as Gabriel specifically because Hod is a sphere of water. Gabriel is an angel of water, yet Gabriel is also the messenger of God. Therefore, it is very fitting to personify this being as Gabriel. But of course, because of the red and white iconography, you could also describe this being as Michael, because this is clearly a reference to fire with the red and the white. So there's a few ways to dice it up. But the idea is that this is seen as a higher self. Whatever angel you attribute this to, this is a higher self pulling the forgotten parts of you, the abandoned parts of you, the destructive parts of you, the evil parts of you up, so they can be purified by the air. As the dead rise into heaven, they have to pass through the realm of air. Yes? That air's karma is the karma, the challenge of letting go. So as the dead are resurrected, all of those impurities, all of those things that you thought you couldn't accept, all of those things that you thought the world would hate you for, all of those things that you felt made you lesser than, they will be automatically destroyed as those lower parts of you are brought up. Yes? As you accept those lower parts of you, as you merge with that higher self more, the lower parts of you will be purified, and it will be like you have your power multiplied. Because those lower parts of you, those demonic parts, those are your batteries. Those are all powers. Think of the power of lust, the power of anger, the power of greed. These are normally things people say, shun, keep away from them. However, if you can overcome them through not resisting them, yet redirecting them towards your will, then these things will serve you. And that is what you're being asked to do, to become a master of the fire and the water within you. The water power, these are the lower impulses of sexuality and emotion. Yes? The fire within you, these are the attachments to connection and to stimulation through desire. Yes? It is the mercurial consciousness that marries the sun and the moon, the fire and the water, thus putting an end to the endless projections and desires and hungers. That is the mercurial consciousness. This is the consciousness of the higher self. This is what you are also exploring in this lifetime. You're learning how to be guided by this power, which again, for you is a type of feminine power. This is also why you have spent so much time in Japan. Yes? This is one of the major reasons why, because Japan is heavily influenced by Venus and Netsach. Yes, yes. There's sun goddess, yes? is a perfect example of this. Even their solar entity is goddess. Yes? Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is why you are here. This is allowing for you to put yourself into the world. It's allowing for you to be pulled up by the feminine. And now you are in a position where, again, you can reinvent yourself through letting go, or you can take yourself as you are and expand. Yes, it's up to you what you do at this point. Think of all of these things that we have said. You are being asked to grow in some way, and you have a few ways to do it. You can purify yourself a little bit more. Yes, release more, and then become the sun. Give yourself to the world. Or you can take yourself as you are and just go for it. Yes. Now, when we say these things, use your own sense of timing, use your own astrological calendars, your own intuition. But these are some of the things we are encouraging of you. For it is useful to insulate. Know when your installation is complete, and then be excited to give your gift, whatever that may be. Now, there's a few other things we can say, but we'll pause here for a moment for any questions based off what we have covered thus far.
Okay. Wow. That's all great stuff. So since one question I have is, since this is more towards the bottom of the tree, is this saying that in my overall soul's journey that I'm more at the bottom of the tree and still have that
Not
that way to go?
Not necessarily. It looks like that, but we are about to flip this whole thing upside down because your chart is rather elaborate. Your chart is not normal. Your chart is a chart where, in order for us to tell you the full picture, we have to also read the top of the tree, because if you are 10, you are also 1. So you must understand that your chart is like the chart of two people. It's like there are two people inside of you. Yes. The sun and the moon that we mentioned. Yes. That represents your past self and your future self. Your job is to become this Hod, the Mercurial self that merges both past and future self, higher and lower self. So think of it in the following way. We have read what the earthly you is doing with these readings down here. Now, let's talk about what you're doing behind the scenes, shall we?
Sure.
So we scroll up, because if you are 10, you are also 1, which means we shall look at the 3 paths that emanate from Keter. So we have the path of the Fool, yes, 11. This is a path of ascent. Now, you could look at this in a few ways. You could look at this as, because you are also 1, you are just starting. You could say that this is one of the freshest lifetimes you've ever had. You're just getting started. But both of us know that that's not necessarily the complete picture, because there's a lot you have accomplished. There is a lot you know, which also implies that you are ascending from Chokmah into Keter. There is a type of relationship here that has to do with you in this lifetime feeling as if it is a fresh start. And that can, at times, be for better or for worse, because it can feel as if certain challenges, you might not know what to do. It can feel like with certain situations, it's confusing. Yet you may feel like you have already beaten the game. You might feel like you already know everything. Yet there are certain things that may baffle you still, that may present hiccups. And that can be a point of amusement and humility, but that can also be a point of frustration. The reason we can say that with confidence is because if you look at the card on the other side, what is it? The Magician, which is the master. You're walking both of these paths at once. What this is saying is there's a part of you that feels like they're just winging it. They're just going for it. Let's make the best of it and see what happens. And hey, we know we're protected, so let's just give it our best. And if we keep our fingers crossed, perhaps it shall work out in our favor. Yes, that is the Fool. But you're also the Magician at the same time, knowing you're the one pulling the strings, knowing you are the one in control, knowing you are the one that has the power to guide your life and commune with the divine, so the divine and you can co-create whatever it is you wish. Yes.
Okay.
So these are certain foundational things for you. It is the Magician self that connects you to divine feminine power. It is the magician self that connects you to wisdom and to knowledge. And it is the magician self that leads you through the cycles of death and rebirths, yet contains a seed of immortal estrangement within its essence that keeps your consciousness intact, no matter how many recyclings you go through. Therefore, you never have to start over completely. No matter what happens to you as a soul, what you are is always preserved. That is what this being ensures for you. Yes. So you have already obtained what you would consider to be a certain level of immortal consciousness. This lifetime's about strengthening that. And from here, as we have said, you're in a position where you could, if you wanted to, ascend into the source. You could, if you wanted to, just spin the wheel of fortune and see where life takes you. You could, if you wanted to, go through periods of purification. As you can see, because of your karma, you have positioned yourself throughout the tree in major positions. This allows you to easily, as a spirit, move through the tree in whatever way you wish. In other words, nothing is off limits for you. That is something to keep in mind, both as a incarnated being and as a soul. There is nothing off limits for you. It's all about just really picking where you want to go, just really finding out what that is. Let's take a look at the next card in this mix, 13, and this segues perfectly into what we just said. The High Priestess is literally all about finding out what the heck your will is. Yes? That is where you go within. This is where you become hermetic, like you've done. This is where you seal yourself off so you can find out what your path back to the source looks like. That will be the path of your true will. This path is like a snake. Yes, it winds. It will take you throughout the whole tree as you wind up and make your way back to Keter. Yes. So look at it like this. We'll paint a very special picture for you. You started here. You moved here. Think of this as the moment of your spiritual awakening. Yes, this is where the world card, this is when you're a child, you're a teenager, you're a young adult, and you're just in the world. Yes, and something happens and you wake up. Then you get pulled into alignment by the Shekinah. For you, this, we feel, really correlated with your migration to Japan, specifically. From here, there is this idea of an option of just winging it and see where life takes you, or choosing to willingly let go of what no longer serves. Should you do that, you will be brought into Tiferet. This is unity with your HGA, your higher self. From Tiferet, where can you go? You can go towards Bina, which will lead you on your magician path, which you're already connected towards. Yes? You could go towards Hakma, which will connect you with the Fool. It's up to you. Or you could simply go within and become a type of hermit. And that would be the path of the High Priestess. If you take the path of Bina, it will be a journey of the lovers, which is where you'll be encouraged to make some choices. What do you wish to commit to? How do you wish to devote yourself? And it will also be a path of making sure you keep your heart open so you can, like Bina, give yourself to the world. So this path here of the magician, it is a path of the world. Please keep this in mind. Even though it looks like you're going from Tiferet, the sun, into Saturn, it's not the same as being a hermit. That would be the center path. This would be the hermit path. This is actually a path of devotion to the world. That is the path of the magician, because the magician is a god, one whom runs the world, yes? So that's where that will lead you. You could also take the path of the emperor into Hakma. This is where you are focused less on the world, and you are focused more on building your own personal empire, using magic to strengthen yourself, to burn away what no longer serves you, to secure your resources, yes? And to demonstrate your will for all to see, thus establishing your reputation on the astral plane as a magical authority amongst humanity. Yes? That is the path of the emperor. It will lead you to Hakma, and from Hakma, it's essentially a straight shot into Keter. Yes, it would be a position where you have, in a sense, built your empire up to such a high degree of refinement that it's almost as if it runs itself. Yes? It's like building an AI to run your world exactly how you want it. Once that happens, you can become like the fool again, the child. You can start to play. Yes? Because your magical persona is pulling all the strings. And now what do you get to do with your life? Whatever you want. You get to be the fool. And you can literally dance your way chaotically and gracefully, drunkenly and soberly back to the source. So you have three paths. It's up to you what you pick. It's up to you how you do it. There's no right or wrong way. In our opinion, and this is our opinion, you are moving into the Aeon of Ma'at, as it is called. We have described it as the Aeon of Eva Ashta Ma'ata Parave. Yes, a more full-fledged and saturated vibratory description of the Aeon. This is an Aeon of, again, giving yourself to the world, but in a balanced way. Yes, with precision, knowing when you're giving too much and immediately cutting it off. Knowing when someone is taking too much and immediately removing their hand from you. Yes, doing it with love, but precision. Compassionate, swift, tactful, elegant, brutal precision. Yes. A precision that is all of those things to such a degree that it is just seen as something that must be immediately accepted. Yes. That type of precision, to give yourself to the world like this, because the world will not know your boundaries. The world will not know your limit. The world will not know how to treat you unless you teach. Yes, you must teach them. And we are saying that literally. Not only do we encourage you to teach the world how to treat you, but in general, we encourage you to teach the world. Remember, the sign of Aquarius is the sign of the humanitarian. Yes, the philanthropist.
Yeah.
You have a lot to offer. So you can become a hermit. We won't pressure you. You can build your own private empire. We won't pressure you. Our suggestion would be blend all of it. That will give your soul a complex and thorough understanding and experiential range of the many themes that are available to you in this incarnation. That will burn up many of the karmas that would otherwise become future incarnations, and that could actually secure a position of pure ascension if you desired this in this lifetime. So you could always stack your life in a way where ascension is essentially guaranteed, and it would still be a choice to you. Yes? When we say pure ascension, we're talking about transcending the wheel of samskara completely. And being able to become incredibly conscious with how you use your energy. Incarnational currents will no longer sweep you unconsciously. You'll transcend them, stabilize at that new level, and their hypnotic pool will wear off from your energy body. Yes. And it is a type of hypnotic pool. Remember, the reason that souls come to Earth is because of an intense feeling of loving yet erotic connection. Because it's opposites. It's literally spirit and form. It is male and female in that way. So there is a powerful pull. It is almost like a lust that draws souls to Earth. So that is one of the reasons why, for you, this yesodic dimension is so powerful. Because if you can control your sexual energy in this lifetime, and you have your whole lifetime to do it, we might add, then the incarnational lust will not be able to pull your soul. Yes. Instead, your sexual energy, your lust will be like a battery, rocket fuel, rather than a fly trap. You again below, we have the 414 when you were born, representing 9. Yes, so 9 is again the sphere of Yesod. This is referencing what you must focus on in this lifetime. Mastery of the sexual power, mastery of the psychic space. This will be a massive theme for you. Pay attention to this. 9 is also the theme of completion. So as we have said, this can be the final incarnation for you. This can be your breakaway point, if you wish. Now, let's go a little bit further into number 414, because this can be read through Gematria. So as we take a look at this, through the text Sefer Sapphires, we are reading the text with the channel. As we take a moment to go through this text, we notice a few things. 414 translates as the Ein Sof Or, representing the limitless light. This is what you have access to. This is where you come from, and this is where you can return to. It also has to do with the golden treatise of Hermes, yes, representing again your connection to the Mercurial power, which allows for you as an alchemist to marry the sun and the moon. Internal alchemy for you, which is a sexual practice, will also be incredibly beneficial for your evolution. Enclosure without limit, growth without limit, mystery without limit, meditation, insight. Understanding is a fountain of life to those who have it, but the instruction of fools is folly. Going forth, limitless light. The eye of EVE, mirth, laughing, derision, sport, associated with the play of Brahma, and of course, enchanter, magician. So these are all of the things you are meant to become. These are all of the things you are meant to do. How you do it is up to you. What we remind you of is you shall not fail, for you are already these things. You have already become these things. You are simply here because this is a lifetime of enjoyment and also refinement, and it is a lifetime of deeper purification. So you can create another version of your ascent that is actually more purified and more aligned with your likings. We'll talk about it like this. Versions of you have ascended already. And many of them say, well, that was great, but I could actually go back and do that a little differently. And they do. And they'll actually create a few lifetimes that allow for them to burn up even more karma, to purify themselves. Why? Because like we said, they can either go right up and just ascend, and whatever they present with, hey, there it is. Or they can choose another lifetime where they release, where they let go, where they purify, they have success, bam, straight shot up. Yes. So you have already completed the great work, as you say. This is a lifetime where you have an opportunity to, in a sense, do it again, but with greater levels of tools and technology at your disposal. For example, there are so many more books on alchemy available to you right now than ever in history, in relationship to what is made available for the public. Yes, the Library of Alexandria was vast, yet not everyone was able to enter. So you're in a time where there is massive amounts of alchemical knowledge, secret knowledge all around you. So as a practitioner, this is an opportunity to practice in a way that transcends what was available for the last 5,000 to 10,000 years on Earth. So it is a lifetime of very rare potential. And that's why it can be a lifetime of purifying and increasing the success of your ascension.